So the sheer scale of the crisis that we've seen, we're now looking at more than 2.7 million refugees, and we estimate that over half of those, so 1.35 million, are children. And so it's meant that the need to scale up very quickly has been critical. Now, one of the good things about Poland having opened its borders so quickly and such a generous welcome is that people have been able to get in, they've been able to figure out where they're going next, but one of the critical things that what we're not seeing is being able to identify key child protection risks. So tents like these, mother and baby tents, are absolutely critical so that teams can get in, children can have a safe space to play, mothers can just take their load off their feet for a short while, but also we can have child protection specialists and counsellors here identifying vulnerable women and vulnerable children, because the volunteer response we see around us is amazing. But when you have this many people coming and this many people on the move in terms of refugees, even if a very small percentage of those are at risk of trafficking, abduction or abuse, you're still going to see thousands and thousands of cases.
Now, I understand you've been trying to get to some of those besieged cities, even to deliver toys to the underground shelters in places like Kharkiv. You know, it takes brave people to go back in there. What sort of scenes are you seeing?
Yeah, I mean, UNICEF is trying to get absolutely everywhere where there are children in need and where there are mothers and babies in need. Even toys can make such a huge difference for children who are living through incredibly difficult circumstances. Even amidst chaos, when you find a safe space for children to play, to draw, to be with their children, it can make a huge difference in allowing them to start to process their trauma and start to really figure out a way of building beyond this.
And what about those humanitarian corridors? We all watch places like Mariupol where they are so petrified, they're starving, they're melting snow for water. You know, what's your view of that, first of all, and what is your hope that might happen for the people that are there?
Certainly. I mean, the images that we've all seen are horrific. And just yesterday, our executive director, along with the executive director of WHO and UNFPA, issued a statement calling urgently for the end of attacks on healthcare. We've seen pregnant women killed. We've seen babies in the rubble. These are unconscionable acts. So we have to see an end to that. We're ready to get our people in and to provide the care that's needed, but we can't do that if bombs are falling and bullets are flying. We need a humanitarian pause, we need a ceasefire, and ultimately the children of Ukraine need peace.
I mean, it's terrible, isn't it? And you see the faces of people who arrive here. There's sort of a blankness of the trauma in their faces. They're absolutely exhausted. Is there anything more that can be done, do you think, to, this is now quite well organised. People say it's definitely better than it was at the start. But is there anything more that, people watching at home can do?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, when we have a crisis of this scale, it's clear that we need international solidarity. We need not only funding from governments and governments to step up in terms of the refugee response, but also individuals can help. If you go onto unicef.org.uk, you can donate, and this kind of funds allow us to do things like get midwife kits into these hospitals that we're seeing. So doctors and nurses working in the most difficult conditions can do their job. They have the supplies, the oxygen, the midwife kits that they need to deliver children into this world.
Well,